Sadiq Khan's warning business owners that criminal gangs could take advantage of the busy Christmas season by shoplifting. It's one of London's fastest growing crimes, meaning that shops which should be cashing in on bumper sales could be hit by huge losses. Here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
The bright lights don't just attract shoppers and tourists. London's high streets and shopping centres are a magnet for thieves. The seasonal bonanza for the capital's stores also means a bumper Christmas for shoplifters.
We know over this next month, Stratford, Westfield, Westminster, Oxford Street, Battersea, our key shopping districts will be targeted by organised criminals. That's why we've got increased patrols.
Thefts from shops make up more than a fifth of all crime in London, and being caught on CCTV doesn't seem to worry offenders. Shoplifting is a crime on the increase. It's said to cost London stores more than £100 million a year in lost goods and extra security. According to police crime statistics, between October 2023 and September 2024, there were 76,000 shoplifting offences in London. That's up 44% on the previous year. Today, London's mayor visited Westfield Stratford, where extra police are working from a pop-up police station in a van parked outside. But Westfield has also stumped up cash.
We're really happy with the collaboration we've got with the Met and their visibility. We fund an on-site police team, so we're spoiled.
The mayor's critics at City Hall called on him to fund more police.
To be honest, they need more resource. They need more boots on the streets. They need far more officers around on the front line, because without that, they will not sort this out.
But so-called retail crime doesn't just target stores. Shoppers too are vulnerable, especially from thieves on two wheels.
We do see an increase in thefts that are enabled with people on pedal bikes. Some of our perpetrators are using e-bikes, but lots of my staff are out on pedal bikes as well in both covert and overt fashions.
At St Christopher's Place in the West End, shoppers are encouraged to adopt the Met's motto of look up, look out.
We see countless people walking through with mobile phones that are looking on maps to see where they're going. They may be taking an hour off the ball because they've got earphones in or doing things. And I think some of it is just being aware of your surroundings, where you are.
City Hall said extra police patrols would target Christmas shopping hotspots where thieves are likely to use the crowds as cover. Simon Harris, ITV News, Stratford.
Good evening. It carries 700,000 Londoners every day, but for more than 24 hours, the Elizabeth line was out of action, all because of a computer glitch. There was no service between Paddington and Abbey Wood all day yesterday, and issues persisted this morning. It's caused severe delays at Paddington, Heathrow Airport and Reading. The software crash was triggered when engineers carried out routine maintenance, and now questions are being asked about why the £19 billion tube line can be brought to a halt so easily. Here's our correspondent, Simon Harris.
At a depot in West London, the trains were going nowhere. For the second day running, the capital's shiny showpiece new railway was at a standstill. A recurring signal fault halted all services in the main Elizabeth line tunnels between Abbey Wood and Paddington.
I've really fed up with paying the price that I pay to travel on it, to be honest, and that in all of the London services, to be honest.
Now I'm going to take London Underground from a nearby station from somewhere. I just have to figure out from where.
I'm meeting a friend here to pick up my dog, and he's been waiting at Goring Station, I think it is, for at least 45 minutes to catch his train into central London.
Commuters arriving at Paddington from West London and Berkshire were advised to switch to the tube, but that was easier said than done. As if the shutdown of the Elizabeth line wasn't bad enough, the tube went into meltdown too. At various times during this morning's rush hour, Paddington had no Bakerloo line, no Circle line, no Hammersmith and City line, and severe disruption on the District line. The Bakerloo line was brought to a sudden halt by a fire alarm. It wasn't long before crowds began to build up on the platforms at Paddington, forcing staff to close ticket barriers, which in turn led to queues.
The last 2 days have been absolutely awful. Things this afternoon have been getting a bit better, but honestly, when you see the way that the morning rush hour was just wiped out with huge problems elsewhere on the London Underground, well, an awful lot of people will just be giving up.
The problem on the Elizabeth line started with routine maintenance on the passenger information screens. Somehow it corrupted the computerised signalling system which controls the trains. The £19 billion railway was suddenly paralysed.
What needs to be done is there needs to be a serious look by TfL and Andy Lord, the head of TfL, into why this is continually happening on the Elizabeth line, and it needs to be sorted.
Soon after this morning's rush hour, Transport for London said the problem had been fixed and a senior executive apologised to passengers. A spokesperson for the Mayor said what happened was below the high standards people expect from the Elizabeth line.
Gosh, Simon, that just looked awful this morning. But we also got an update today from TfL about the cyber hack that happened in September.
Yes, this was the attack which stopped people being able to apply for travel cards, stopped people being able to look at their journey history online, or stopped people being able to apply for refunds if they deserve them. Well, today, the London Assembly was told that refunds are now being processed.
We're also beginning to process refunds for some of our customers and are working on a priority order starting with the oldest cases. We are identifying cases from vulnerable customers and those citing hardship and or high value refunds so that we can resolve those as quickly as possible.
And what TfL hasn't revealed is how people who were entitled to travel cards but couldn't get hold of them are going to be compensated. We know around 250,000 Londoners are out of pocket. Many of them are students. TfL says it will be in touch with them, but we don't know how or when or how much money they've set aside for compensation. One final point, Transport for London says the glitch on the Elizabeth line is not linked to the cyber attack.
All right, Simon, thank you. Now, perhaps not the best timing, but in a week where rail services were brought to their knees by bad weather and technical glitches, rail bosses were celebrating on another part of the network. There was a big rebrand for the London Overground, with each line given a new name. Well, the Mayor said the changes help celebrate London, but passengers could face inflation-busting fare rises in the new year, and they think the money could be better spent elsewhere. Here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
This is Willesden Junction. Change here for the Mildmay Line 2, Richmond and the Lioness Line 2.
It's all change on the Overground. 17 years after the suburban commuter network was launched, it's been rechristened. Instead of Overground, the 6 lines have individual names, including Lioness, Weaver and Windrush. The rebrand has cost almost £7 million.
I believe they spent money to do this. Money can be spent on other things.
To be honest, it's just a bit confusing.
I don't really see the point, to be honest. Overground was fine.
I think it's great. It's less confusing because before the Overground was just all orange.
3, 2, 1. The new brand was launched by the Mayor in Hackney, joined by a few famous faces.
This is so historical. I never thought I'd ever see this happen. So this is really powerful. The fact that future generations, my grandkids and their kids and their kids, will be on this line knowing that their ancestors were part of this line, and that without that, they wouldn't be here.
How long is it going to take for people to learn these new names?
I don't think it will take them long at all. There's been lots of activity over the summer where we've been celebrating these names and telling the stories. They will see them every day.
The names were chosen by Sadiq Khan, who has another big decision coming down the line: what to do about fares. In the aftermath of the budget, the government told the Mayor TfL must increase its fares in 2025 in line with national rail fares. That's 4.6%. So, will Sadiq Khan have to abandon his fares freeze?
You'll have seen the letter from the Secretary of State. We're considering the letter from the Secretary of State, and I'll be making announcements in due course.
You don't seem to regard that as an instruction?
Well, the letter's quite clear. It's quite clear what the government wants us to do.
But if the letter's that clear, it is 4.6%.
Well, let's wait and see what I announce in due course.
He's been notable by how quiet he's been about this. I mean, he spent the last 8 years throwing rocks at the previous government. This government are now instructing him to raise fares by 4.6%, and he's been, at best, very muted in his response. He's not standing up for Londoners, he's standing up for the Labour Party.
This week, commuters in London have been treated to a combination of closed lines and disrupted services. Signal failure shut the Elizabeth line for more than 24 hours. Today, the Mayor said he and Transport for London wanted to apologise for the poor service. Simon Harris, ITV News, Dalston.